There's a brand new project in town and I think you're absolutely gonna love it, especially if you're a SHIB holder. The name of the project is O Doge. The name of the project is oDOGE, and it is bringing a fresh and new perspective to the world of crypto. In fact, oDOGE has successfully become the very first meme coin to be fully hosted on the Bitcoin blockchain. You're probably curious as to how this could be possible since we know that Bitcoin does not allow other projects to be built on top of it. Well, if you want to find out, then make sure to watch this video to the very end. oDOGE is already listed on some big exchanges like LBank. This suggests that significant players in the crypto market are seeing some serious potential in oDOGE. This could be a hint that oDOGE could be a top project soon. So keep watching to the end to learn what makes this project stand out. Disclaimer. What's up, SHIB Army? Thanks for checking out the channel today. In this video, I'm going to be telling you about oDOGE. It's a super interesting project as you'll soon learn. Plus, it shares a few similarities with SHIBA INU, which I think could endear you to the project. There are new projects popping up every day and many of them offer the same value proposition. However, oDOGE is doing something totally unprecedented. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to be walking you through all the different aspects of this project. However, before we get to that, please keep in mind that I am not a financial advisor, and as such, this video should not be taken as financial advice. Like I always tell you, please ensure that you do your own research and speak with your financial advisor before you invest. Also, do keep in mind that the crypto market tends to be quite volatile, which means that projects crash all the time. If you're gonna invest in this project or any project at all, make sure that you only part with money that you can afford to lose. And with that said, let's see what the oDOGE project is about. To begin with, oDOGE is the first meme coin project to be hosted fully on Bitcoin. It sounds a little complicated since we all know that Bitcoin typically does not host other projects, like Ethereum for example. However, it all makes sense when you understand the concept of Bitcoin ordinals. So if you're familiar with the crypto environment, then you've probably heard the word ordinal being thrown around of late. Ordinals have been taking over the world of Bitcoin gradually since the invention in January of 2023. According to the statistics, right now, there are more than 100,000 ordinal users on the Bitcoin network, and they are sharing content from images to video games to other kinds of content. However, that's not the answer to the question you asked. So let's learn what ordinals are about. Alright, so ordinal inscriptions are just like Ethereum NFTs, but on the Bitcoin network. The way it works, the developers inscribe content like art for instance on a Satoshi, giving that Satoshi a distinct marker. Just to remind you in case you forgot, a Satoshi is the smallest unit of a Bitcoin. Now developers have been trying for a really long time to make the Bitcoin version of Ethereum NFT. In fact, in 2014 they actually experienced a level of success, which was how we got the rare Pepe NF collection created by Counterparty and then Stacks in 2017. However, January 2023 was when Casey Rodarmor officially launched the Bitcoin Ordinals protocol. According to Rodarmor, his work was based on ordinal theory that deals with allocating individual identities to Satoshis. And this is great because it gives each Satoshi an individual identity and meaning, which means they can now be tracked and transferred. Bitcoin ordinals are a huge deal for the Bitcoin network, which is why it's not surprising that since its invention, activity on the Bitcoin network has literally exploded at the application tier. As a matter of fact, ordinals could be that invention that moves Bitcoin from being a mere store of value to something that has more utility. To be very clear though, Bitcoin ordinals and Ethereum NFTs might be similar, but they are actually quite different. Ethereum NFTs point to an actual item. However, the NFT is not the item itself. With the Bitcoin ordinal, the Satoshis don't actually point to anything. Thanks to the ordinal system, which numbers the Satoshis in a Bitcoin according to the order in which they were mined, Satoshis can now have inherent value. Now, as you've seen so far in this video, the invention of the Bitcoin ordinal is still fairly new. So anyone who's poking around this field right now is still pretty early to the party. This means that if you're watching this video right now, you may just be sitting on a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's quite possible that Bitcoin ordinals could become really big in the future. So make sure to keep watching if you want to learn more. Alright, so now you know what Bitcoin ordinals are, let's move on to what oDOGE is about. As you may have guessed, the O in oDOGE stands for ordinal, so this project is actually Ordinal Doge. But how did the oDOGE team create this project? Well, first the oDOGE team inscribed the logo of the oDOGE project on a Satoshi. Based on what we learned so far, this brought about the ordinal NFT of the oDOGE logo, which will be the base plate of the project and will forever live on the Bitcoin network. While this step is truly remarkable, there are still a couple of issues. The biggest one is that even though Bitcoin has NFTs now, Bitcoin does not run smart contracts, only Ethereum does, and this is where Emblem Vaults comes in. So what Emblem Vaults does is to help projects interact with Bitcoin through smart contracts. It's a super innovative step, no doubt. However, you might be surprised to know that the technology has actually been around for a while. Actually, as far back as the Rare Pepe NFT collection was launched on the Bitcoin network, this technology was already available. Anyway, that said, oDOGE has created a Vault NFT on Ethereum where the oDOGE ordinal will sit on the Ethereum side of things. So now we have the oDOGE NFT ordinal on Bitcoin and then the Vault on Ethereum, meaning that oDOGE will now be able to interact with any smart contract on Ethereum while still living on Bitcoin. This can be a little tricky to wrap your head around, but if it helps, you can think about it like token wrapping. Alright, that step done, let's now move to the third step, which is the generation of the tokens. With the oDOGE now smart contract compatible, the team split the ordinal into ERC20 tokens using fractional.art. If you're not familiar, fractional.art helps make NFTs more affordable and accessible by breaking them into bits. This way, if you love a particular NFT but can't afford to buy it whole, you get to own at least a tiny piece of it. Alright, so thanks to fractional.art, the oDOGE team has been able to split the ordinals into 1 quadrillion tokens, which anyone can now buy and own. Now, there are several reasons why I think the oDOGE team is doing something worth taking note of here. The first reason is that oDOGE is going to be the very first project to put Doge on the Bitcoin network. Not only that, it's also going to be the very first project to put a meme coin on the Bitcoin network. Plus, oDOGE is the very first Doge ordinal. These are 3 huge feats and possible signs that the project could go parabolic soon. If you kinda think about it, ordinals today are like Bitcoin when it was first invented. Ordinals are still very new right now and are nowhere near as popular as other aspects of crypto, but there is a good chance that this space blows up soon. Already, some experts are saying that the Genesis Bitcoin ordinal could be worth a few $1,000,000 in just a couple of years. Now imagine what that means for oDOGE. The meme coin community is a large, diehard one, and of all the meme coins, Dogecoin is easily the king. With all the records oDOGE is already breaking, it's quite likely that it draws such a huge demand that its value shoots up. Well, while you think about that, you might be excited to know that the oDOGE team is hosting weekly competitions in the community where thousands of dollars will be up for grabs. To be a part and take some of that money home, be sure to check out the description for the link to the oDOGE community. Like most SHIB holders are, I'm also sure you'd be happy to hear that oDOGE is big on burn. 50% of the total supply along with the starting liquidity have already been burned, and more burns are planned. So we should see a continued increase in scarcity and consequent increase in value. That said, the oDOGE token does not come with a buy or sell tax, plus it's already been listed on some big exchanges like LBank, BKX, and Biloxi. The team says there are some listings on the way, so we can look out for that. And now with that said, tell me, did you find the oDOGE project interesting? Drop me a comment in the comment section and let me know. But as usual, if you choose to invest, make sure you do your own research first. Remember, this video is not financial advice. This brings us to the end of today's video. If you enjoyed the video, then please like this video and leave a comment in the comment section. This really helps me with the YouTube algorithm. If you are a true Shiba Inu fan, then you must check out this video.